to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good of marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. Now, the mission at Marketing Pulpit Show is to build strong businesses in our community so that we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself in a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just turn on the Marketing Pulpit Show because we're on a mission. The show is broadcast live from the illustrious Radio 1 studio. Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. And we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. I am not here to save your soul. I'm here to save your business, save your job, and collectively we can save our community. Because an economic foundation is paramount in the sustaining of a community. And that's my mission, my reason for being, my raison d'etre, as the French would say it. And welcome to everybody. I am a business developer by trade. I have a company called Gatewood Marketing and Web. You can find out more about me by going to gatewoodmarketing.com. I'm also a professor at Prince George's Community College, where I teach marketing and PR and social media and digital marketing, networking, a few other courses. I've also written a couple of books. And I'm also helping people in the government space who are trying to work in the SBA program. Well, that program is on the fire recently. But anyway, that's who I am. You can find out more about the show by going to marketingpulpit.com. And the show that you see today will be available immediately on the various social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and all the other platforms. You can also go to marketingpulpit.com and watch the show live if you don't have social media. Got a great show today. We're still continuing into Women's History Month. So we're going to talk about the wealth gap, women in finance, and we have a special guest coming up later on. Miss Sunshine Walker. She's a financial advisor, and we'll be bringing her on the stage in a few minutes. So it's got a great show going on. We're going to talk about a few other things today. You know, today is Friday the 13th. Ooh. I don't know how you feel about that, but we're going to make some good things happen on this Friday the 13th. That has been generally associated with bad things happening. But bad things are going to happen to the bad vibes. We're going to be all about positivity today. As a matter of fact, this month is also National Optimism Month. And heaven knows we need some optimism going on. Let me give you some quick optimism tips this month. Let's give everybody all rah-rah and ready to go. First of all, think about this. I'm going to give you my tips on optimism on this Optimism Month. The first thing I want you to do is start with gratitude. Identify something that's going right to get you in that good spirit. Everything. I know you hear all this bad news, but everything isn't going wrong. Something is going right. Identify what those things are that are going right. Focus on what you can control. Don't spend all your time on these things that you have no control over. Control the controllables. That's part of keeping that optimism going. If you're focusing on things you can't control, you're going to be down in the dumps. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And reframe your challenges. Look at it like this. What can I learn from this situation? It's a learning opportunity. Things are not going well. Reframe it into a positive. And limit the negative inputs. Don't let all kind of negativity get into your head. That's a downer. Sometimes you can do that by just blocking out certain people. I don't mean forever, but sometimes you just got to turn them off. You've seen those folks, every time you see them, they just bringing you bad news. Remember that lady in, what was that, The Wiz? Lady said, don't bring me no bad news. big lady coming down there singing that song. Sometimes you have to do that. Don't bring me any bad news. So you limit your negative inputs. And when you have these small wins, go ahead and celebrate. Pat yourself on the back. Okay, these small wins turn into big victories. Surround yourself again with positive people. I'm just telling you, that is so important. You have to visualize positive outcome. That's why people do a vision board at the beginning of the year. If you can see it, you can be it. Try to visualize where you want to go. We're talking about optimism today. Take constructive actions. Don't just sit around thinking positive. Take some concrete actions to make them into realities. Sometimes they're small steps, sometimes they're large. You do what you can, okay? And another good thing about optimism and a way to manifest it is to encourage others. It is hard to be negative when you're encouraging somebody else to be positive. I'm just saying. So when you encourage others to be positive, you in turn will be positive yourself. It just happens that way. It's a law of nature. And remember, that's an old song. I know it won't be this way always. Think of a gospel tune. These setbacks are temporary, whatever you're going through. I think my good brother Willie Jolly put it this way. A setback is a setup for a comeback. I like that. So anyway, let's take these words of optimism. And optimism isn't wishful thinking. It's a mindset that fuels resilience, creativity, and forward constructive movement. So on this National Optimism Month, let's get out here and be positive, optimistic, and bring some folks along with you. I know you know somebody's out there in the doldrums. I do want to recognize one of our, we lost a great leader this week, Mr. Fred Sawyer. He's been a guest on this show, and he passed away this week. One of our local heroes. He was a scholar, an athlete. He was the co-captain of the Booker T. Washington football team. They went undefeated. He was at Virginia State College, where he was the all-CIAA football player. He went to the Army as a second lieutenant, became a master parachutist with a Bronze Star recipient. He also got a PhD degree from George Washington University. And after his career in the military, he was a notable entrepreneur and inventor. And he was elected into Virginia State University Hall of Fame in 1997. And the Hampton Roads African American Sports Hall of Fame in 2009. So I want to dedicate this show to our good brother, fallen leader, Mr. Fred Harold Doc Sawyer. Good brother, good brother. All right, what else we got going on here today? I tell you, I'm talking about optimism. I saw this story in Essence magazine. It was talking about some of the things that's happening financial wise with Black women. I thought it might be worthy of noting on this Women's History Month that in the wake of layoffs, Black women are reclaiming their identity beyond work. There's been this great exodus of Black women leaving the workforce. Some of it was forced. Some of it was deliberate and voluntary. And you've seen the headlines about the 300,000 Black women that lost their jobs in 2005. In April last year alone, 106,000 Black women were laid off. This is according to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics. So it's not just me making up numbers here. So you have to ask yourself, why is the most educated, and in some cases most talented demographic in America so quick to be given the pink slip and laid off? And I'm quoting from this article. And why are so many choosing to leave the careers that they fought so hard to build. According to this article, after being forced to start over in many instances, and in some cases more than once, Black women have learned that the value isn't determined by any organization. Instead, it is defined by the purpose one chooses for themselves. So while there may be an exodus of Black women in corporate America, many are off to greener pastures. So I say that to tie into the optimism today. If you're in that number of women who've been laid off, who've been facing maybe difficult times, choosing a new career path, there are definitely greener pastures ahead. So think about it. Think about that talent pool that made Black women such a powerful force. That power does not disappear just because you moved into a different environment. So I have a feeling, this is me putting on my crystal ball, that the same energy, the same talent, the same force, the same aura, the same, whatever you want to call it, juice that propelled Black women to greatness in corporate America and government agencies will have the same impact as they chart their own paths as entrepreneurs, as investors, or if they just decide to chill out and live off their savings. Whatever they decide to do, I have a feeling they're going to be all right. Let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to have our special guest, Miss Sunshine Walker. I thought it was important to talk about this topic today on Women's History Month, and particularly in light of what's going on in the economy. Got to get your money right. This ain't no joke out here. You have to get your money right. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. So hang on a second. Don't go anywhere. If you know somebody who's could benefit from this information, tell them to come on back to the Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gatewood, and I'll be back in a moment with my special guest, Miss Sunshine Walker. Hang on. All right, we're back. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. I'm here every Friday at 10:30 a.m., bringing you the good marketing gospel. Go to marketingpulpit.com. You can follow the show there. Feel free to share the show, like us, follow us. We're talking about women and wealth today, talking about finances. This is Women's History Month. It's a time to celebrate progress of women, but it's also a time to do a reality check. Women are actually in more control of, more wealth than ever before. But we still face some realities. A financial system that wasn't really built with women in mind. And that's a fact. Women live longer. Most earn less over their lifetime than their male counterparts. Most are more likely to take breaks from their careers to start and raise a family. So it has created this inbred, this wealth gap that continues to persist to this day. But it's changing. More women are investing, more women are starting businesses, taking control of their financial futures. So today we're going to bring a financial advisor, Sunshine Walker. She's a community leader, activist, best-selling author, licensed financial professional, dedicated to empowering families and communities to earn more income, build wealth, become debt-free, and financially independent. Man, I can't wait to get her on here. Get out my notepad and bring this woman to the stage. Welcome to the stage, Sunshine.
Hi, beautiful day. Thank you for having me.
I
My,
am honored to have you. Hang on a second. Let me turn my volume up so I can hear you. Yeah, I'm glad to have you today. As you already know, this is a topic that comes up from time to time about women and finances and some of the disparities, the opportunities. And so I said, well, shoot, people don't need to hear from me. They need to hear from an expert. And I want you to remind me that before you get off of here today, let people know how they can find out more about you. But in case I missed anything in your introduction, anything you want to add to that?
no, thank you. That was perfect. That was excellent.
I thank you, and I think that summed it up pretty nicely. So I was thinking about this topic and some of the questions that came to my mind because like I said, every time I get an opportunity to pick a brain like yours, I want to make sure I put the right questions out here. So when I go back, I have to take my notes and say, wow, let me go back. Sunshine answered these questions when she was on my show. So there is anybody with eyes and ears know that women generally live longer than men. Ouch. Coming from a man, coming from a man, like, hey, look, I'm trying to take care of myself. I'm trying to outlive all of y'all. But look at reality, though, okay? So, looking at that reality, how should women change their approach to retirement planning?
Well, I would say that's a great question. So, like we were talking about, women tend to live longer than men. So, I would say that women like myself, should start investing or saving for their retirement earlier than later. Because when they do that, it's going to allow them to be able to, once they retire, because our retirement age is 67. And what I find is in my expertise and in my field is that what we do know is that most women, they're good at saving, but they're not good at planning for investments and things of that sort. So that's where I come in as a financial advisor, financial professional. That's where people like myself come in and show women how to take control of their finances, how to be empowered, what strategies that they need so that they can be able to prosper and thrive in their later years so they won't have to go back to work. Because what we do find is that statistics show us, and I deal with thousands of clients all the time, where when they're 50, they started saving for their retirement too late. I don't want to really say too late. I don't want to say that, but they start saving instead of saving at 25 or 21, because most people start working at the age of 16. Most people do. And when they start working at that age, we're not taught financial empowerment, financial literacy in school, which does us a real disservice. So what I will say is, for women, we need to start saving for retirement as soon as we hit the workforce at the age of 16. If you start working at 18, 20, 21, the sooner the better to plan for your retirement, so that once you retire at 67, and if you plan and start planning for your retirement, and we have different strategies, I have different strategies that I use with my clients. There are different strategies that I use and show you as a woman how you can plan for your retirement so that you can thrive during your retirement years and never go back to work. Because what we see is that a lot of women retire and from their jobs, and then they go back to work because they don't have the money, because they didn't have a financial advisor like myself empowering them, giving them a financial education, letting them know that they need an emergency savings plan. They need a short term savings plan. They need a long term savings plan. And that's where I come in. I'll show the women, and I show women every single day how they can do that so they can thrive, like I said, in their retirement and not just survive.
But you know what? That's a good lead into the next question, and you hit on some of it. Women do tend to be bigger savers than investors. Practically every woman I've come across in my lifetime, they were putting that money away. I mean, they got these big fat savings accounts sitting around. I mean, just sitting there. So what is it about this? Okay, so they feel safe with saving, but what is it that's preventing them or giving them the confidence to take that next step and become investors?
You said what prevents them from doing that?
Yeah, what? Yeah, why are they less confident in investing and more comfortable just saving?
Because based on our culture, especially for women of beautiful queens, our culture, and again, like I talked about it before, segueing into this question, we're not taught financial literacy in school. So if we're not taught something, we're ignorant of that. And then once we become aware, like my girlfriend wrote a book, Malika Starr, now that I know better, I do better. Once we learn better, we typically tend to do better. So that's one of the things I think it causes them to not be able to plan for retirement, to have that money, that nest egg, shall you say? Because when we were younger, our ancestors and forefathers, they used to hide money up under the mattress or put it in the Bible. They say if you want to hide something from someone, put it in a book, because most people don't read. That's why they say that readers are leaders. So that's what they need to do is plan better for their retirement, study, hire someone like myself, a financial advisor, of course, a licensed financial advisor. Make sure you vet. And I want to say this, make sure whoever you work with, any woman, whoever you work with, make sure you vet them. Because we're in a social media age where people are giving all this information on Instagram and all these different sites or whatever the case is. But make sure whoever you work with, they are vetted. Vet them and make sure they are legit and they are licensed to do and handle your money for you, because that matters to empower you so that you can be able to, like we talk about, thrive in your retirement years and not just survive. And that's where we come in. We give you all the different strategies that you need to prosper and succeed and thrive during your retirement, because that's what it's all about. Because we do live longer than men. We do live longer than men. So that's where it comes in, where you don't have to worry about the stress or anything about having money, because over, like you said, Robert, over 100,000 women have been laid off, and more women are being laid off as we speak. We do know that. Those are facts. So that's why I can't stress enough. Make sure you vet your financial advisor, the person that's going to help you or empower you with your money and educate you so that you can have that nest egg during retirement. And you may be able to retire if you hire the right financial professional. You can retire at the age between 50, 55, maybe before 67. So you can live the life that you dream of, you desire, and you deserve.
Well, that's great. Now I'm building this case here because you've given me two nuggets. I'm just going to combine these two. First of all, you start earlier. Don't wait until until your middle age and say, well, let me just go ahead and start saving some money. While in the meantime, you're taking all these trips and living this lavish life and buying Louis Vuitton purses, but you're not taking care of your savings. So you start your saving as soon as you hit the workplace, as soon as you hit the workforce. And the second thing is because even though saving is important, once you get that money, that wealth starts to build, you got to get some confidence and to take it to that next level. And that requires getting some advice, getting somebody who understands how money works. So instead of just sitting on that big pile of money, you starting to move it so it starts to work for you. So that's what I'm hearing so far. So you're building a good case here. Let's take this case another direction. So we're seeing this surge in women entrepreneurs. Now I'm saying this as a business developer, as a marketing and business consultant. The majority of my clients are women. Only because it's I don't know what it is. I mean, it just happens to be that way. Another thing that happens also is that I'm a professor at the business continuing education at Prince George's Community College, and I would say about 95% of the students in these business continuing education classes are women. So while she's coming back, let me put a few statistics out here. Women control roughly 1/3 of the United States household financial assets today, and are projected to control about $30 trillion by 2030. That's a lot of money. Hey, Sunshine, I see you back. So hang on. Let me get my screen back up here. There you are.
Hi.
All right. Thank you. I don't know what you did, but it worked. Let me jump back in here. People over here, I got a lot of my engineers and people sending me notes, and they're saying that things seem to be working now. They see you. Okay, cool. All right, let's keep moving. Let's talk about. We're talking about for everybody who's tuning in for the first time. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We have as our special guest today, Miss Sunshine Walker. She's a financial advisor. She's an author. She's a coach. She does all sorts of amazing things. We're talking about women in finances, women's wealth, the wealth gap, how we can take some steps, concrete steps to close this gap. Because women earn about 82 cents on the dollar for their male counterparts. And when you start talking about black women, that gap is even wider. On average, women live about 5 years longer than men. So, guys, when you're out there choosing your mate, you might keep that statistic in mind. Now, that's not everybody, because we talk about averages now. But I know my mom outlived my dad about 5 years. I'm just telling it like it is. I think he was like 94 when he passed. She was like 100, something like that. So the number worked out for them. But anyway, let's talk about the generational impact. We hear this term thrown around nilly-willy about generational wealth. So what role do mothers and grandmothers play in shaping the financial habits for the next generation?
Well, that's a great question.
I'm putting the burden on you guys' shoulders. Go ahead.
That's a great question, Robert. Thank you for asking that. So the role that our ancestors, our mothers and grandmothers, our ancestors played in us building generational wealth, we know about the statistics and things of that sort. They weren't paid. They weren't paid to do labor. They weren't getting paid, so they weren't able to build generational wealth. They weren't able to do it. So now the blessing of right now for us as beautiful women, the blessing for us is that we are able to build generational wealth, like I talked about before, because we're being empowered. Thanks to the internet back then, we had to really read. I read now, and of course, I gotta read because readers are definitely leaders. But I still like to say this: our ancestors and forefathers were not paid, so they could not build generational wealth. They were slaves. They didn't get paid. Okay, for them back then. So now, fast forward centuries later, we are able to build generational wealth because we have the knowledge, we have the information, we have financial professionals like myself who are licensed and are able to empower you to build wealth, generational wealth. So now we give you the education. Now you have the education and the knowledge, and thanks to social media, not social media, but be careful about that, like we talked about. You have the knowledge that you need right now so that you can build generational wealth. For financial advisors and professionals like myself, we're able to empower you financially and show you all the financial strategies and things that you need to be able to prosper and succeed and build generational wealth. We have so much more strategies, so many tools, so much more education. It's there. And of course, as a professional, a financial advisor, we are here to assist you with that, to empower you, because our ancestors and forefathers did not have that. So now we're able to make the money. Even though we make 82 cents to every man's dollar, we still have that 82 cents that we can invest. And that's where we come in as financial advisors and professionals to empower and educate women so that they can be able to invest that money. And they can be able to, like we talk about, retire and thrive and never have to go back to work so they can live the life that they dream of, desire, and deserve, because that's what it's all about. Working hard for all of your, for so many years, until you retire at the retirement age of 67. What I do find that most women that I talk to, most of my clients, thousands of clients that I have, they want to retire before 67. So that's where we work together. We develop a financial blueprint success for them to be able to be empowered so they can build that generational wealth, not just for themselves when they retire, but so they can build generational wealth for their children, their children's children, and their children's children's children. Amen. So that's where we come in. So that's where that generational wealth, we're able to build generational wealth right now based on where we are. We have so many tools, so many strategies that we can use, and we're making the money now. We are making money, even though it's 82 cents to the dollar. Every man is the men are making. We are still making money, so that I can show you how to make that money work for you. Through different financial strategies and investments that women can do to build that generational wealth. So that's where it comes in. Financial empowerment, financial education that we have, and financial strategies and tools that we have now, and we're making money now so that we can build that generational wealth with the right guidance of financial professionals like myself.
I do like you said something that's really, I think, is important, and it also ties back into that topic I was addressing earlier about optimism month. Yes, okay, women make 82 cents on the dollar. But like you said, you have 82 cents. What are you going to do with it? Get somebody, get some help, figure out how you can turn that 82 cents that you do have, instead of course, trying to make, eventually we want to be working nonstop to level the playing fields so we have equality. But in the meantime, we just can't sit around and moan and groan. We take that 82 cents that we do have and make it work. Matter of fact, you got to make your money work harder than the person who has the full dollar. So that's actually good advice. I really like that. And like you said, our parents we weren't handed a silver spoon. We weren't handed a nest egg. Not only did we not get the wealth, we didn't get the knowledge. And once again, what are we going to do about it? Do we cry about it? Do we throw up our hands and, well, woe is me? No, we go out and find professionals. We educate ourselves. We do our research, and we take what we do have so the next generation don't have some of the same handicaps that we started off with. So I really like that. So what if we come to the close to the close here, what are some of the most common financial mistakes that you see women might be making now, and what they might do to avoid some of these, I guess, financial traps? Sunshine? I think we may have lost her again. Technology is great when it works. While our guest comes back, I'm just going to share some more statistics about women and wealth. About 80 to 90% of the women of the world, particularly in the United States, will be solely responsible for their finances at some point in their lives, due to death of their spouse, widowhood, divorce, or just choosing to remain single. That 80 to 90% needs to get their financial literacy and awareness at the top of their game. Women are launching businesses at one of the fastest rates in the United States, growing faster than the national average. And check this out. Women investors often outperform men investors over time. That goes back to that. Once you give women the tools, now of course they've been denied through misogyny, sexism, all types of miscarriages of justice. But once the tool is in their hand, according to statistics, they outperform men over time. I'm telling you, talking about a powerhouse. That's why we like to recognize Women's History Month. Now, the downside of this, and why we are talking today, less than half of the women feel confident about their financial knowledge. In other words, give us time, give us the tools. We're going to get there, but right now, less than half actually feel positive and confident about where they are. Once again, that's why we bring on guests like Sunshine to kind of change some of those numbers. Women are the largest, fastest growing investors right now. So we're seeing movement. And these are just interesting numbers. So on this Women's History Month, we're talking about financial literacy. We're talking about wealth. And we lost our guest due to technology. But what you've been listening to is we're talking about women and wealth. We've given some statistics. It's going to quickly bring up some points that as I was making notes. According to Sunshine, we need to women, and this information can also apply to men. We're contextualizing it today because it's Women's History Month. But according to her, start sooner. The minute you hit the workforce, start putting money aside. And what we also discovered is that women tend to save more, and they tend to be less confident about their abilities to invest. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that when you've been left out of that particular activity, you haven't gained the confidence. She also talked about how we talked about the generation that our parents, our grandparents, grandma, grandpa, they not only had wealth, they didn't have the wealth, but they didn't have the knowledge as well. So there's quite a bit of catching up to do. One of the biggest takeaways is that you need to get some help. Find somebody who can actually help walk you through this process. And if I hope I can get Sunshine back up here so she can give us her information. If not, we'll put it on the website, on our Facebook page. We'll put it in the description of the show. So when you go back to your platform, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, you'll see the content. Okay. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for today. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We're here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. We're continuing to celebrate and commemorate Women's History Month. And we'll keep that theme going the rest of the month. Now, next week, we're going to have a young man that's going to talk about technology. And we're going to talk about AI and get into technology space. We're going to close out the month on the 20, 2 weeks from now. We're going to close out the month with another phenomenal guest. That's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for tuning in to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We'll be back next week. And thank you again, Brother Thomas, for the information. He's got a new business inquiry for me. Thank you very much. I'll be talking to you about that. And let's go out here and make this money. And as always, what do we say? I'd like to close each show with these three powerful phrases. If you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. Do the right thing. Do it at the right time. And you must do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.